My boss looked me dead in the eyes and told me I wasn't ready for the promotion. 2 days after I found out he'd already given it to the woman he'd been secretly sleeping with for 4 months. Her name was Dana. She joined our team in January, knew nothing about logistics software, and spent most of her first week asking me how to use the internal calendar system. I trained her. I literally sat beside her and walked her through everything. And by March, she was sitting in the office I had been promised since the previous October. I want to be clear about what that promotion meant to me. I had relocated cities for this job. I turned down an offer from a competitor, a better offer, because my boss, Richard, had shaken my hand in front of 3 witnesses and told me the director role was mine pending the Q1 review. I had documented that conversation. I had emails referencing it. I had reorganized the entire Southwest distribution chain based on the assumption that I would be leading it going forward. When Richard called me into his office that Wednesday morning, I actually thought he was going to finalize the paperwork. Instead, he slid a printed org chart across the desk with Dana's name in the box I had been mentally furnishing for 6 months. He said the leadership team felt Dana brought a fresh perspective. He said it wasn't personal. He said there would be other opportunities. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I smiled, thanked him for his time, and walked back to my desk. And then I opened my personal email and forwarded myself every single document I was legally entitled to keep. I went to HR that afternoon. Not angry, not emotional, just organized. I brought the email chain, the meeting notes, the written performance reviews where Richard had rated me as exceeding expectations 4 quarters in a row. I brought the offer letter from the competitor I had declined, time-stamped 3 weeks after Richard's verbal commitment to me. HR launched an internal review. It took 11 days. What they found was worse than I expected. Richard had not only bypassed the formal promotion process entirely, which was already a policy violation, but Dana had been listed as a dependent on his health insurance since February. They had been living together. He had hired her under a name she didn't typically use professionally, and nobody had flagged the conflict of interest because nobody knew to look. Richard was terminated. Dana's contract was not renewed. The director role was offered to me formally, in writing, with a salary adjustment that was frankly overdue. I took exactly 48 hours to think about it, and then I called the competitor back instead. They hadn't filled the role. They offered me more than they had the first time. I started the following month. The last thing I did before I handed in my badge was send Richard a connection request on LinkedIn. He accepted it within an hour. I have no idea why I found that so funny, but I did. Here's what I want to ask you. If you found out your boss had promised you something and then handed it to someone they were personally involved with, would you have stayed and taken the new role? Or would you have walked like I did? Tell me in the comments because I genuinely think this one divides people.